There are pipe fittings sitting in your walls right now that could flood your entire home by tomorrow morning. And the worst part is, you probably installed them yourself thinking you were doing the right thing. After 3 decades of fixing other people's plumbing disasters, I can tell you that most of the emergency calls I get start with the same sentence. I just used what they sold me at the hardware store. Today, I am walking you through 10 pipe fittings you should never use in your home. Number 8 on this list is one that could actually put your family in real danger. And stick around for the bonus tip at the end, because it could save you from the most common fitting disaster I see every single week. The first fitting on our list is push-fit fittings in concealed spaces. And this one is going to ruffle some feathers, because people love these things. Look, I understand the appeal. You press a pipe into a fitting, hear a click, and you have got a connection with 0 soldering and 0 tools. Brands like SharkBite have made plumbing accessible to just about anyone, and I respect that. But here's the problem. These fittings rely on a small rubber O-ring and a set of tiny stainless steel teeth to hold your pipe in place. In an accessible location, like under a sink or in an exposed utility room, that is perfectly fine. If it ever weeps or fails, you see it immediately and swap it out. But the moment you bury one of these behind drywall, under a slab, or inside a finished ceiling, you have created a ticking time bomb. That O-ring will degrade over time. Mineral deposits can weaken the grip of those teeth. And when it lets go, water is spraying inside your wall for hours or even days before you notice. I have personally ripped open walls where a single push-fit connection caused over $15,000 in mold and structural damage. Use these in accessible spots if you want, but never bury them behind a finished surface. The second fitting that earns a spot on this list is the saddle valve. If you have ever hooked up a refrigerator ice maker or a humidifier, there's a good chance someone used a saddle valve to tap into the nearest cold water line. It looks like a little clamp that bolts around a copper pipe with a needle that pierces a tiny hole. Simple, right? Dangerously simple. These valves are notorious for seizing up after just a year or two, which means you cannot turn them off when you need to. Even worse, that pierced hole in your copper pipe becomes a magnet for corrosion and mineral buildup. Over time, it weeps. Slowly at first, then faster. Many states and local codes have outright banned saddle valves, and for good reason. The proper alternative is to cut into your water line and install a real T fitting with a quarter-turn ball valve. It takes maybe 20 extra minutes, but it gives you a reliable shutoff and a clean connection that will last decades instead of months. The third fitting I need to warn you about is the galvanized-to-copper direct connection. This one catches a lot of homeowners off guard because it seems logical. You have got an old galvanized steel pipe coming out of the wall, and you want to transition to new copper, so you thread them together or use a basic coupling. The problem is something called galvanic corrosion. When two different metals touch each other in the presence of water, an electrochemical reaction starts eating away at the joint. With galvanized steel and copper, this reaction is aggressive. Within just a few years, you will see a crusty white or greenish buildup at the connection point, and eventually the joint fails completely. The fix is simple and inexpensive. you need a dielectric union or a brass transition fitting that acts as a buffer between the two metals. This one little piece, usually costing less than $10, prevents that corrosion cycle entirely. Every plumbing code in the country requires it, and skipping it is one of the most expensive small mistakes you can make. By the way, if you are finding this advice helpful, you should know it is just a small sample of what I have put into my new guide, The Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It is packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let us continue. The fourth fitting to avoid is PVC fittings on hot water lines. This is a mix-up I see constantly, and it comes down to one confusing detail. PVC and CPVC look almost identical on the shelf. PVC is usually white. CPVC is usually a cream or light yellow color. But their performance under heat is completely different. Standard PVC is rated for cold water and drain waste vent applications only. It starts to soften and deform at temperatures around 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is right in the range of most residential water heaters. When PVC gets used on a hot water line, the fitting gradually warps, the joints weaken, and eventually you get a failure. CPVC, on the other hand, is chemically treated to handle hot water up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you are working with plastic pipe on any hot water application, make absolutely sure you are using CPVC with CPVC specific cement. And if you see white PVC on a hot water line in your home right now, plan to replace it before it surprises you. The fifth one on our list is flexible braided supply lines that have been left in place for decades. You know those braided stainless steel hoses under your sinks and behind your toilets? They look tough on the outside, and they are, but inside that braided jacket is a rubber hose, and rubber does not last forever. After about 8 to 10 years, that inner rubber core starts to dry out, crack, and weaken. When it finally gives way, it does not drip. It bursts, wide open, full municipal water pressure dumping onto your floor. Insurance companies have flagged old braided supply lines as one of the single biggest causes of catastrophic residential water damage. The fix is easy and cheap. Replace every braided supply line in your home every 8 to 10 years, or step up to lines with an auto shut-off feature that stops flow if a burst is detected. A $5 hose replacement now can prevent a $50,000 insurance claim later. The sixth fitting to watch out for is compression fittings on hidden copper lines. Compression fittings use a brass ring called a ferrule that squeezes around the pipe when you tighten the nut. They work well in accessible locations where you can monitor them and retighten if needed. But behind a wall, under a floor, or in any concealed space, they are a liability. Copper pipes expand and contract with temperature changes. Vibration from nearby appliances or water hammer can gradually loosen that compression nut just enough to start a slow drip. And a slow drip behind a wall is one of the most destructive forces in a home because it feeds mold for weeks before you ever see evidence. For any concealed copper connection, properly soldered joints or press fit pro fittings are the way to go. Save compression fittings for shut-off valves and expose connections where you can keep an eye on them. The seventh fitting is Fernco rubber couplings used as permanent pressure repairs. Fernco couplings are those thick rubber sleeves held in place with band clamps. They are a staple in drain and sewer work, and they do a fantastic job in that role. The problem is when someone uses one on a pressurized water line as a quick fix. Maybe a pipe cracked and someone slapped a Fernco over it thinking it would hold. It might, for a little while. But these couplings are not designed for pressure. The rubber stretches, the band clamps slowly creep, and one day that coupling launches off the pipe like a cork out of a bottle. I have seen them blow off at 3 in the morning and flood an entire basement in under an hour. If you have a cracked pressurized pipe, cut out the damaged section and replace it with the correct pipe and permanent fittings. A Fernco is a drain solution, not a pressure solution. Never mix the two up. The eighth fitting on this list is corrugated stainless steel connectors on gas lines installed near electrical wiring. And this is the one I warned you about because it involves your family's safety. Corrugated stainless steel tubing, often called CSST, is a popular flexible gas line material. It is fast to install and great for running gas to fireplaces, stoves, and dryers. But it has a serious vulnerability. If lightning strikes near your home, or if electrical wiring runs close to the CSST and an arc occurs, that thin corrugated wall can develop a pinhole almost instantly. And a pinhole in a gas line means gas is leaking inside your walls. This has caused house fires and explosions. The solution is proper bonding and grounding of all CSST lines per current code requirements, and maintaining safe separation distances from electrical wiring. If you have CSST in your home, have a licensed professional verify that it is bonded correctly. This is not a DIY situation. It is a life safety issue. The ninth fitting to be aware of is threaded galvanized nipple closeouts, specifically the short ones. A nipple in plumbing is just a short threaded piece of pipe that connects two fittings. When a galvanized nipple is very short, say under 2 inches, there is barely any wall thickness left between the threads on each end. That thin remaining wall corrodes incredibly fast, especially in homes with aggressive water chemistry. I have pulled these out of older homes where the nipple literally crumbled between my fingers. The inside was completely gone. If you have older galvanized plumbing and you are making repairs, use brass nipples instead for any short closeout connections. Brass resists corrosion far better than galvanized steel and will last many times longer in those critical high-stress transition points. The 10th and final fitting on our list is slip joint fittings installed behind walls. Slip joint connections are those white plastic or chrome nuts you see on the drain pipes under your kitchen and bathroom sinks. They are designed to be hand tightened and taken apart easily for cleaning and maintenance. That accessibility is the key word. They are meant for trap assemblies under open sinks where you can see and reach them. When someone extends a drain line and uses slip joint fittings inside a wall or ceiling cavity, they are relying on a connection that was never intended to be permanent or concealed. These fittings have no cement, no solder, and no mechanical compression. They depend on a nylon washer and hand pressure. Even a small bump during construction, settling of the house, or vibration can loosen them just enough to drip. For any concealed drain connection, use properly cemented PVC or ABS fittings with permanent solvent weld joints. Slip joints belong under sinks, not inside walls. And now for the bonus tip that professional plumbers swear by. This one has saved more homeowners from disaster than almost anything else I teach. Once a year, do a full fitting walkthrough of your entire home. Start at the water heater and follow every visible pipe and fitting you can access. Look under every sink, behind every toilet, around your washing machine, and near your water softener if you have one. You are looking for 3 things. First, any greenish white crust on copper fittings, which signals corrosion or slow leak. Second, any moisture, staining, or discoloration on walls, ceilings, or floors near pipe runs. Third, any supply lines or valve connections that look swollen, cracked, or older than 10 years. This 15-minute walkthrough, done just once a year, is the single most effective way to catch a fitting failure before it becomes a 5-figure repair bill. Most of the catastrophic floods I have been called to fix could have been prevented if someone had just looked at their fittings once a year. Make it a habit. Put it on your calendar. Your home and your wallet will thank you. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It goes way deeper than we can in a single video, with 85 pages covering everything from clearing any clog to replacing your own water heater. If you want to stop wasting money on simple fixes, this book is for you. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks for watching. And if you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss the next one.